Yeah, I think in the last few years I have a growing opinion that we need to have industrial policy in the US. So we don't have industrial policy here, by the way. Does that surprise anybody? I was surprised. The government doesn't say we should be focused on these kind of things. We've always taken the attitude that the market should rule. So the marketplace should tell us what should be manufactured and so forth. In most other countries, they have industrial policies. Take France, for example. They have industrial policy of supporting aerospace. And so the government of France encourages the development of aerospace in France and other things. In Mexico, they have industrial policy. They have a new president, Claudia Sheinbaum. She's very pro-business. She's said she wants to have 100 industrial parks built across Mexico. These are these big, giant footprint places where there's lots of manufacturers. Their industrial policy is development and with respect to machinery and industrial products. In China, you probably all heard about Made in China 2025, their industrial policy, the things they focus on and how they want to evolve into more sophisticated manufacturing. But in the US, we've got nothing. And there are certain things, and I think the pandemic exposed some things that are very important for us to focus on. So number one is semiconductors. You know, semiconductors are in everything, and they're hardly made here at all, or have been in the past, and we've got some plans. But you know, the other day I dropped my hairdryer, the cord to my hairdryer on the floor in the bathroom, and it split open. The little electrical box that you plug into the wall, there's a semiconductor in it. I'm like, geez, you know, they're everywhere, right? I mean, they're in all of our appliances and our cars and our watches, our phones, everything. And without being able to use those semiconductors, we're in a heap of trouble. Right now, most of our semiconductors come from overseas, a lot of them from TSMC and in Taiwan Semiconductor. And when China takes over Taiwan, not if, but when, it's only a matter of time, if they decide to shut down that semiconductor production so that they can't ship anything to the US, we're in bad shape, we're in bad trouble. And that's one of the reasons why the infrastructure bill and the Chips and Science Act put money and funding into the development of semiconductors in the US. So they're being built, factories are being built across the US, but it'll be 10 years before those things are all online. So that's, you know, that's certainly a problem. We need to have an industrial policy on pharmaceuticals. You know, most of the building blocks in pharmaceuticals, like antibiotics, for example, not made in the US. Can you imagine what we would do if we had some production of antibiotics, precursors were not available to us? We could get antibiotics. It's mind-boggling, it's very scary. I think we should have an industrial policy about pharmaceuticals. So semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, rare earth elements, some electric batteries. These are things that were called out in the funding in the prior administration, and a lot of that funding went into production and funding to build factories and that sort of thing. Under the Trump administration, there's been a lot of focus on manufacturing, but you know, there isn't like a policy direction, and there isn't any funding available. So, you know, we may be stagnating a little bit, but you know, I'm of the opinion that we need to figure out what are the fundamental needs of Americans. Right? We need semiconductors, and we need drugs, and we need, you know, our electronics. We need these things that we're very dependent on, and we ought to have a policy so that the government supports the development in those areas and possibly funds some development as well.